a toddler. He invites you to roll back in time to the age of 3 and the start of understanding the world, the age where questions are asked and the whole world is new. Please help me welcome John Rocky with the branching path.
Vegas, baby. Vegas. Yeah.
Got the chance to go down to Las Vegas, Nevada to do the most expensive babysitting experience I've ever had. My partner Heather and I have two good friends, another Heather and Nathaniel. They have a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old. Great kids, but that's a lot to have while they're doing a convention down in Las Vegas. And they help run Gibbs RV in Coos Bay. And so there's an annual convention where in trainings and whatnot that the other Heather really needed to attend a bunch of, and Nathaniel needed to go to a few events as well. So Heather and I went down there to help them manage these 2 rugrats while in Las Vegas. But I'm not a big Vegas person. Like, I could do without the adult Disneyland of sadness that it is. Instead, we wanted to go hiking. So we went out, and there's some really beautiful natural areas around there. And as we explored the different zones, I was constantly being reminded how new the world is when you're 3 years old. So I've known Branch since he was in the womb and beyond. And this little kid has grown up and very cool kid, curious, listens pretty well to adults, but he's at this age now where trying to step into the world, instead of being just a tiny human that's carried along, he's a tiny human that's figuring out how he can belong. And so I invite you to roll back your mind to your earliest memories. First memories that come to mind for you, what are they? Some of mine, I was 3 and 4 years old and we were moving hay bales because we had horses, and that's what you did. And so pushing the hay bale and rolling it, that's what I could do as a little kid. I couldn't lift them yet, but I could push them and move them a little bit. So I remember doing that. I remember tying hay bales down. I remember running around in our yard. We had a sandbox that my dad created right next to a apricot tree. And the roots would go all the way underneath because we were always using water and building sandcastles and whatnot. And so the apricot roots had intertwined inside the sandbox, and we were always breaking roots to dig any deeper. So I'm having these types of flashback memories of myself at a very young age as I see Branch exploring the world, and he's, okay, let's run. And he just runs. And I mean, he's a little kid, so 1 pace of yours equals 5 steps of his. Yet he's still so excited about it, and that little bit of energy helps a lot, like letting loose that little bit of energy. So when we're going through the hotel hallways, okay, let's run. So we're those annoying people running in the hotel hall. It's worth it. Little kid's happy. As we're cruising around the city of Las Vegas, he's in this double-decker stroller, and his younger sister Avery Jo's in the front top half, and he's able to slide him down below, and he can see out and see everything and get out fairly easily, but he's kind of contained too, and he's really good about staying in there. And as he's going around, he's verbalizing this experience, and he's talking about the textures of oh, look at that, and the it's so smooth, it's so rough. And also, little kid in Vegas has his hands touching everything he can. So you're trying to keep him from doing that because Vegas is Vegas. You don't know where that's been or what's been on there. So it's this constant exploration. And then you got him out of the city. And instead of the lights and sounds overload, he got the chance to zone in and zoom in. And as we're walking down these rocky trails, sometimes he has a hand up if it was a little of a sketchy zone, and one of the adults is holding his hand, or he was able to do it on his own. And he's ambulatory enough and dexterous enough to really do some cool dynamic movements. And I'm jealous because I'm like, man, I wish I was that flexible. As he's going along, he's seeing how his little body can get traction on boulders and rocks. His shoes are slipping a little bit here and there, and so he'd go down to 3 points of contact or 4 points of contact, and he's crawling up different things. If there was a little cave, he'd go and he'd see the cave and he'd examine it, maybe put his hand in, maybe not, and make that decision. And you could see the knowledge and information being processed in real time, and the evaluation of, okay, based upon his short little past history, is it a wise idea for him to put his hand in this hole or not? And we're in the desert, it's winter. I wasn't too worried about scorpions or snakes, but it's still a real possibility. And you could see him thinking about that and the natural instincts kicking in a bit. As he's traversing these rocks, he starts to try to slide down them a little bit on his shoes. And he realizes that if he puts 2 hands back in just kind of a crab stance, he can keep his balance. So then he starts sliding off these little rocks and then hopping from one rock to the other. I got to see this kid realize his potential in one hike and change his walking style from having an adult hand and kind of being supported to, okay, I can do this on my own, and crawl and run a little bit and then jump. And it wasn't without consequences. A kid hit the dirt maybe 6 times. We were trying to catch him, but it was too late. And he'd just get moving a little bit faster and just do the belly flop sprawl. And first 2 times, no tears, no worries. He just got up and just kept going. 3rd time, he hit a little harder and he got a little cry going on, and we picked him up for a second, and he was like, no, I want to hike. So we put him back down and he kept going. That little difference is pretty cool. So we were able to hang out, so came back from the trip, had a great time with them, and then we didn't see him for about a month. And in that month, he changed his verbal descriptive language from a fairly comfortable with pointing out different words. All of a sudden he'd have a new word that you're like, wait, I didn't know he knew that yet. Now he has full sentences going on in a 1 month period of time. It's all kind of come together, and he's starting to create games in his head and games that he wants to play with the adults in his life. That shift in a 1 month period is really cool to see. Now he's wanting to build forts and tents, and yeah, he's excited for the future stuff. He was super stoked that Auntie Heather and Uncle John were coming for like 4 days. He has this anticipatory excitement, and he's able to process, remember, and be cognizant of the future. This little 3-year-old is stepping into the full adult world with imagination, with anticipation, with envisioning of what's going to happen ahead. I think that's so cool, and it's really cool to be a part of that. I love being an uncle. I have tons of first cousins that have a bunch of kids. I don't want kids. I'm not going to have kids myself, but being able to help other adults raise their kids and be a positive adult influence in them, in their lives, that's my goal. So I get to see it with Branch, and he's doing this different exploration of the world, and we're trying hard to support him in that, yet keep him safe. So it's this balancing act, and then trying to help his parents stay sane, because honor to you parents, you do a great job, and it is one of the worst, one of the best, and definitely one of the hardest jobs on earth. Did they get down and play? Did they try to explore the world with you and let you do things? Or do they just answer and restrict your worldview so much that no, you can't do this? That's the power that we have right now as adults. We can help shape these little minds to be exploratory, to be inquisitive, and to seek out new things in the world, or we can restrict them. So I encourage you, within safe bounds, to encourage that exploration. And the next time that you're hanging out with a 3-year-old, embrace it, revel in it, and also be a little jealous of their rubber bodies that can bounce back up. If I took 5 face plants or 6 face plants along a hike, I'd probably be done. I'd almost definitely be done. So those are the opportunities that you have by living life through another set of eyes, and also re-embracing that inner child of your own. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
what I can tell you about children at 3 years